SCORE Northeast Wisconsin and WHBY are pleased to bring you Biz Talk, a chance for you to hear from entrepreneurs and professionals as they share their experiences. From starting to sustaining growth, learn the skills needed for your business to be successful. If you miss anything, you can catch the Biz Talk podcast at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. And now from the Myron Construction Studio, it's Biz Talk on WHBY.
Good Saturday morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the show. I'm Terry Pinch, one of the co-hosts, and this week joining me as co-host is Rick Sense. Rick, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Terry.
So did you get any biking in?
You know, it's been warm, but it's earlier in the week it was pretty nice and got a lot in. It was very nice. Good time of year to bike in Wisconsin. Other than your compatriots from the past, the Canadians, I wish they'd learn how to put out their wildfires. But other than that, it was pretty good.
Yeah, we were in Michigan last week and we could only go hiking once because it was really bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I got out this morning already. It was good. This week, our guest is Sarah Paulsen from Valkyrie Financial. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. You have a unique and interesting business in the Valley that we thought people would love to hear about. So first, introduce your business and tell us what it is.
Sure. So, as you said, my name is Sarah Paulsen. I am a certified financial planner, and I started my own financial advisory business to focus on ladies born in the 80s and 90s, because honestly, I am solidly in the millennial generation, and our generation can use all the help it can get when it comes to finances. So I decided to start a business that would be able to provide that advice rather than just financial advisors for rich people or retirees. Let's spread the information to everyone.
Okay. So what led you to being a financial advisor?
Well, I started college thinking I might be a technical theater major. So that would be backstage stuff, kind of set design, running the show from the dark side, and quickly realized that actors aren't the best people to work with. They're kind of divas. So I had to quickly pivot from that idea, dropped a couple of the theater classes that I had been planning on, and one of the few classes that fit in the schedule was a business statistics course. And despite loving working with finances and money, I'm not a huge numbers gal. So business statistics, I thought, was just going to be like pulling teeth. But it was interesting because it was finally numbers applying to the real world. And it just made so much more sense. So that kind of pushed me down the business path. And then I found finance, and I love the interplay of the economics of, hey, if this happens over here, then that's going to affect the price of this over here. And I especially love the psychology behind it. All of the things that our brain does that's just wild, and helping people through that.
So after school, What career path did you follow?
I have been in wealth management, financial advisory my entire career. I got a job at a bank, and then moved into a support role with financial advisory teams, getting that experience with the backside of things, and then became a financial advisor myself in 2014.
So first of all, why did you become a certified financial planner, and what did that involve?
Becoming a certified financial planner it's a process. For me, it was 18 months of self-study on pretty much every topic of planning, investments, estate, retirement accounts, all of it. And so much taxes. Then you sit for a 6-hour exam that is multiple choice. And I passed, thank goodness. Only about 60% of participants do make it through, even after all of the self-study and all of the exams in the meantime. And you also need 2 years of financial advisory experience before you can call yourself a CFP.
Okay. So you were recently recognized by Insight Magazine
Yeah.
as one of 40 under 40. How did that feel?
Oh, that felt so good. It's always awesome to be recognized, awesome to have someone say, I see what you're doing, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, it's a huge honor, and I'm really, really grateful and appreciative for it. And shout out to Tiffany Woelfel for nominating me for that. Really grateful.
Okay. So you've got your CFP, you've been working as an analyst or an advisor for about, sounds like about 7 years. And then you decide to go out on your own. Why?
It was really, like so many people, the pandemic changed my perspective on a lot of things, especially those early days when we really didn't know what was happening, what was going on. And I had a ton of friends that are like, hey, I've got a family to take care of. I might get laid off. I still have a mortgage I have to pay for. I have student loans that I have to pay for. I don't know what to do here. And it just seemed ridiculous to me that I have all of this knowledge, and because I was working for someone else, I wasn't allowed to share that knowledge. Finance is highly regulated. Our rules are very, very strict. So I couldn't be giving advice to someone outside of my actual clients who were very well off people, and it just felt wrong to be reassuring someone that the market was going to be fine when I had friends who were like, my entire life might go up in flames because of this pandemic. So I decided to let's try and do it a different way. And I firmly believe that if you have an income, you should be able to have solid financial advice. So where most financial advisors charge based on a percentage of the money that they're managing for you, most of my clients are just charged a flat monthly fee. So it doesn't matter if you have millions of dollars invested or if you have a negative net worth because of those pesky student loans. You can still get solid financial advice.
So you're in the middle of a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You decide you're going to stop serving the rich people to help people who really need help.
Yep.
What made you believe this would work?
Delusion. No, they say if you're going to start a business, look for a need, look for a space that's not being addressed. And this was a space that wasn't being addressed. Once I learned that there was a different way to charge for my services rather than just the assets under management model, there didn't seem like there was another option. I had to do it.
Okay. Well, so let's talk just in a little more detail. What kind of services, what exactly do you provide for your clients?
I like to joke that I am your go-to person for everything with a dollar sign on it, except for filing taxes. But even then, I know enough to be super dangerous.
So when somebody comes in, do they sign an annual contract? How does that work?
We go month to month with my clients. I don't lock them into anything. One thing that I've really learned from years of working in this business is that you really can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. If a person is not open and ready to deal with their finances, there's nothing that I can do that's really going to motivate them. So I don't lock my clients into a annual contract. We really just go month to month, and as they need me, we do it.
So when you launched this business, was there fear of failure?
Always. always a fear of what could go wrong. Is this a terrible idea? Will people get it? But that's life. I mean, one of the things that really pushed me is I have been listening to podcasts from other financial advisors, people that had gone out on their own. And one of them said, like, what's the worst that can happen? I have to go get a job, which is just the default answer for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, that puts things into perspective.
Okay. So we know a little bit about as you started your business, but how did you confirm that targeting millennials and people your age was the thing you wanted to do and not maybe service other segments as much?
It started when I was still serving more of the retiree set. Every now and then, some of them would say, hey, I'd really like to give my grandkids some money. And that would be working with a younger set, not like young elementary school or high school, but these are young adults who are just getting out into the world, and grandma or grandpa gave them a little bit of money, and seeing all of the questions that they had of what is this? What does this mean? It was really intriguing to me. Those are my favorite clients to work with, were these young first-time investors. And then it was also just a different level of communication where with the retirees, I really had to mind my P's and Q's, being treated a little bit like a grandchild, not quite as respected. But then when I'm working with my millennials, I can just really be myself, looser communication style. It's just a lot more fun.
So, as you're doing this, you have your target market, you know what you want to do and who you're going after. Last question we'll ask during this segment is, why did you choose the name Valkyrie?
So Valkyrie comes from, or the idea of Valkyries comes from Norse mythology, so Viking mythology. The Valkyries were warrior women, typically depicted with wings, either on their helmets or actual wings. But their job was to lift up the souls of warriors who have fallen on the battlefield to Valhalla, which is the Viking version of heaven. And I love that strong female image. I am a staunch feminist and always will stick up for women and gender equality. It's one of my passions. But I love this image of really strong women and the idea of raising up to a better life or a better reality. So that's where the Valkyrie came from. I've got a little Scandinavian in my bloodline, and yeah.
Okay, great. We're at the position to take our first break. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score and WHBY. I'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. I'm Rick Sense along with Terry Pitch this morning, and we are talking with Sarah Paulsen from Valkyrie Financial, I think is the correct name, right? Okay.
That is right.
Thank you, Sarah. And before we get back to our conversation, Sarah, I'm just going to let our listeners just give them a brief update of what Score Northeast Wisconsin is all about. We serve an 18-county area in Northeast Wisconsin, plus the county of Menominee in Michigan. We have over 50 volunteers, each an expert in their field, offering entrepreneurs no-cost and confidential mentoring. Those areas of expertise include IT, social media, marketing, cash flow, accounting, strategic planning, workflow, HR, retail best practices, and many, many others. In order to register for a no-cost confidential mentoring session and or to learn more about Score Northeast Wisconsin, visit our website at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. You can learn more about how the Score chapter can assist you with starting and or growing your business, and you can complete an application for a mentoring session. Simply complete the online form and submit it to Score. Within a few days, a Score mentor will be contacting you to set up the meeting. Remember, Score is a no-cost and offers experts who can offer you assistance in many different areas. To get started, visit our website at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. And to support small business people, SCORE Northeast Wisconsin is always looking for new mentors. If you have experience that you would like to share with others, we'd love to talk to you. We welcome volunteers with experience in all aspects of business. Small business owners need your help, and your experience can make a real difference to their success. Go to score.org/Northeast Wisconsin, click on the volunteer button, and fill out the short application, and we'll get back to you to explain more. So thanks again for joining us on Biz Talk this morning. And now back to you, Sarah. Sarah, I just have to ask a question. When you put a shingle out and start your own business, how do you go out and get clients? I mean, did they just show up magically, or I'm guessing you have to work at it, right?
Honestly, it has been a little magical. With what I'm doing being so different than typical financial advisors, being very unique in my service offerings, and then also being pretty young for the industry. The average age of a financial advisor is early 50s. And then also being a woman where 75% of the industry is male. If someone is looking for a financial advisor that is fee only, which is what I am, doesn't have minimum account sizes, which I don't. They want someone young and they would prefer someone female. That narrows it down really, really fast. There are a couple different directories out on the internet for finding a financial advisor, and when you put those criteria in, that's how they find me, which is it is magical, and it's an honor that people are looking for that and they're trusting me with it to answer their money questions.
Is there a lot of word of mouth involved? Do you get clients referring you to other clients?
There's definitely some referral, but I would say probably over half of my client base, I've never met them in person. I do everything virtually. They just find me on the internet and we go from there.
So what are some of the biggest things that people bring to you to help them with?
Oh gosh, everything. One of the phrases I hear a lot in different formats from people is, I don't even know what I don't know. I know this is something that I need to pay attention to. Obviously, money is tied to everything, but I don't even know where to start. So we work through all of that, just starting from the very, very bottom of what do you want your money to do for you? What kind of a life do you want to live? And then connect it from there of here are the pieces that you've got. Here's where we can make them a little bit better. We can make them fit. We can optimize. But it's personal finance. It is personal, and everyone is so different that it's fascinating the different questions that people come up with in their different situations. You
mentioned before too the idea of a negative net worth, usually depending on, student loan situation for a lot of people in your age group. What would you tell someone out there who is thinking, I don't need to see a planner or a financial advisor because I'm barely getting by? What would you tell that person?
I think that's where it's the most important. If you are just barely getting by, that's where there's big danger. If one catastrophic thing happens, then you're even deeper in the hole. And I think we've all been in situations where things didn't go the way we had hoped, or an emergency comes along and just throws everything up in the air. It's exhausting. So for someone who doesn't think that they can afford a financial advisor, or that, man, I get these messages that I'm supposed to be able to do this myself, asking for help isn't wrong. It's kind of like, I liken it to taking your car to a mechanic. Sure, you could learn how to change your own oil, but why? And maybe it's not even just needing an oil change. It could be something deeper that you don't even know is a possibility with money. For studying for the CFP, there are 29 different investment accounts that I had to know forwards and backwards. Most people don't even know 29 different investment accounts exist. There's just so much out there that you don't know what you don't know. And that's okay. That's why experts exist.
What has given you the most satisfaction so far in working with people in their financial situations?
Just seeing the relaxation of, oh, someone's got me here. I'm supported. It's not hopeless. I'm not stupid. Someone's got me. Just seeing that physical shoulder drop. Okay, we can have this conversation. She's not going to judge me. She's not going to belittle me. That's really satisfying. I've had quite a few clients who paid off credit card bills that they didn't think they'd ever be able to pay off, take vacations that they never thought they'd be able to. It's really rewarding to see those life changes, be a part of that.
Are you having fun doing this?
Oh my gosh, so much fun. Being your own boss is wild. It is hard, but being able to put out whatever information that I want into the world, to not be really buttoned up about it and super, super professional, but to just let's just have a conversation. This should be like going out with your friends. I want to be your money best friend, the one that you come to with all these questions. It's so much more fun.
All right. I think with that, we'll take our second break this morning. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to Biz Talk. This is Terry Pinch with co-host Rick Sense, and we're talking to Sarah Paulsen from Valkyrie Financial. Before we go back to Sarah, there's a couple quick educational things I wanted to mention. We talk about it regularly, but if you go to the score.org/Northeast Wisconsin website and you go into the workshops and events, there are a literal ton of workshops, videos, upcoming events. In fact, I just went in and did a search on upcoming events at any location, and there's over 1,000 webinars coming up over the rest of the year that are out there and scheduled. But I just want to mention a couple of them. Again, these aren't the national ones, so these are mostly free. Some of the national ones will have small $25 charges, but for the local area ones from all across the country, regional ones, there's two I wanted to mention. One is on August 12th, and it's Navigating Cash Flow. So this is something that's really important for new small business owners. If we see any issues with new businesses that are consistent across all of them, it's managing cash flow. Some are good at it, most aren't. And it's one thing a lot of them hate, but you got to learn the basics to really manage it. So it's August 12th, Navigating Cash Flow. It's at 11 a.m. You can go online and register. The other one I'll mention is on August 14th, and it's called Behind the Lending Curtain. And it too is at 11. And it's an opportunity. Lending is one of those things that can be very straightforward for certain loans and really complicated for others. And this is an opportunity to start learning about all the different loans that are out there, because when you get into looking for a loan for your business, it can get complicated sometimes. So again, it's score.org/Northeast Wisconsin, and it's workshops and events. And there's a combination of courses, upcoming events, pre-recorded webinars, a lot of the ones that are out there. So go and use those resources to help yourself as you get started. Okay. So with that, we're going to turn back to Sarah. And Sarah, I mentioned to you before we started, or in one of the breaks, that I think we could talk for 2 or 3 hours on all the different investing and financial things that are out there, but especially in your area. But we want to really focus on your specialty, which is financial advice for millennial women. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, can you talk a little bit about, are there differences between men and women in managing finances, and why, if they are they important?
There certainly are. The easiest way I think I can describe it is that oftentimes, I'm going to speak in generalizations. It's not everyone, so please don't get offended, anyone. Generally, I see with men that finances, especially investing, is more about a way to keep score. Every dollar is a point, and it's often about getting more, getting a better return, trying to just beat the market, beat everyone else. Whereas with women, we see money more as a tool. It's how can I help my family? How can I support my community? What can I do with this? That just brings a totally different perspective to how we're managing it. And I see a lot more guilt with women around managing money or wanting to earn more, wanting to invest more, that it's kind of seen as not ladylike or as selfish, as greedy, and it's not helpful. So I work pretty hard with my clients of let's figure out what it is that you actually want, and let's really position money as the tool to get you there. It's not a bad thing. It's not evil. It's just how are we using it? So it's definitely a different perspective working with men versus women.
And do you find in your previous career as an investment planner and in your current one, we're focusing on women, do you find that there's a different knowledge base, or whether it's perceived or reality?
More perceived, generally. Yeah. We see study after study that say women are not as confident in money.
What is in that?
It's very consistent. But when it actually comes down to it, when we put the pen and paper, women do know. When women invest, they often get better returns. Quite a few studies have shown that women are more patient. They just take more controlled, measured risks that tend to pay off, whereas men often are a little more cavalier about it. They're going into and making these big bets, and it doesn't necessarily pay off. Women are just more consistent. So it's different, and it's fun to work with that, to give those light bulb moments to clients who didn't think that they knew, but it turns out they do. They just need that little bit of a confidence boost.
Okay. So more people now are taking at least one finance course to high school, although quite honestly, they usually forget it after they're done high school. But yes. More people are slowly getting educated.
Mm-hmm.
But when women come to see you, are you having to start out with the basics a lot, and really walk them through the whole continuum of here's where you start, here's what you build to?
Absolutely, yes. And I start almost every meeting, at least for sure every prospect meeting, with I'm not going to judge. I think I've heard it all at this point. Every now and then I get some surprising questions, but for the most part, I've heard it all. I've seen a lot of dirty little money secrets. Not a ton throws me anymore. Let's start from the very, very basics. Do you know what a stock is versus what a bond is? Nope. Awesome. Fine. We're going to break it down there. Everyone has a different perspective, different experiences, and it's my job as a financial advisor to figure out where are we at, where is that level set, and build from there.
How important is the relationship between the client and the financial advisor in learning?
It is very much a relationship business. I spend quite a bit of time trying to just learn what's important to my clients, what is the best way to communicate with them, how can I convey this concept. My very first job I think it was 15, was teaching summer school classes, the fun classes. We were doing Lego robotics. and computer animation, 2 different courses. And it was a room full of going into 4th grade through going into freshman. Very different experience levels. Some kids had been coming to these classes year after year. And that really taught me to kind of read the body language, read facial expressions, and if one explanation isn't working, let's pivot and try something different. So it's a lot of knowing the client, knowing what their experience is, and explaining it in a way that they're going to get it. I don't want someone to walk away feeling like, oh, I'm just so stupid, or I just don't get this. This isn't for me. I want, again, the light bulb moment. I want them to have that moment.
Okay. So one of the things I've seen with men and women, but it's the concept of balancing what you spend today with the idea of savings.
Oof.
And I've seen people go to extremes on both sides.
Yep.
How do you work with women to make sure there's a good balance between spending today and investing for the future?
It is a lot of visualization of what do you want your life to look like? What does that future look like? What are those hopes, goals, dreams that you want? And trying to get it more specific rather than this more vague idea. We know from studies that we as humans see our future self as a stranger. We don't relate to what we are going to be like in the future. So creating some kind of connection between what you are doing now and how you want to keep living is super important in keeping that top of mind, really present.
So do you sometimes find you have to tell your millennial women clients that maybe they need to go out and spend money and have a little bit of fun occasionally?
Sadly, I don't get that many of the hyper savers that we need to tell to just relax, go out, enjoy. It tends to be the opposite direction of I am living my life, and especially with social media, it's really easy to see all the things that you're missing, which gets people into a lot of trouble of trying to have it all at the same time. So it's generally more of a how can we create some kind of a system to make saving easy, effortless. Just have it taken care of so that you don't have to think about it. And if you never see that money in your checking account, then you never spend it. We're really good. Our brains are really, really good at going right to the edge and then maybe a little bit further. So if we put in some artificial boundaries of that cash, quote unquote, doesn't exist for you or it's in some other place, that makes it a lot easier for a lot of people to save and build something for the future. Yeah.
When when a new client comes in, how do you convince them that they need to learn the basics and not just jump to an investment account?
It's not that hard. Most people understand that, hey, there's stuff here that I don't know. That's why they come to an expert. They are admitting that, hey, I don't know everything. And I really like to say that investments are like the top of the pyramid. We need to have a strong foundation. You can have the absolute best investments in the world, but if you are spending more than you're saving, you're going to run out of that invested money. So we need to have a really strong foundation down on the bottom first so that we can have a strong support for those investments up at the top.
Okay. So when you're having your initial meetings and I'm assuming many of them, as you mentioned before, are virtual.
Yep.
So you're focusing on building your understanding of the client, but helping the client understand you as well. It's building the relationship.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And why is it so important again to get to know the client?
It's important from my side so that I can communicate effectively with them so that they can feel like they are being heard, feel like they are being cared for. And from the client side, there has to be that trust. Money is really the last taboo topic, right? We talk about politics way too much. We talk about religion. A lot of friends talk about sex. Money is still the thing that we kind of like, let's not discuss that one. So for people to be open and to really share their entire money story with me, there has to be some trust there. And I don't take it personally if I'm not that person for someone. There are tons of advisors out there. We all do things a little bit differently. You can find someone that works for you, works with you. But I need you to trust me and be able to share everything without feeling some shame or judgment or resentment. Because if I don't have the full story, I can't put all of the pieces together in the most effective way.
So how do you transition from building this relationship to working with the person to define a financial direction or plan, not plan, let's say financial direction where they're going to improve things?
It's just a conversation. It's me asking them questions of, what do you want? Again, what do you want your life to look like? What is important to you? I have my clients do a top values exercise. It's a virtual deck of cards with words like family or spirituality, work, accomplishment. And they flip through the cards and narrow it down to their top 5. And then I have them explain, why are these 5 values so important to you? How can we connect your money to these things? Because there again with finances, a lot of people feel like they have to do it a certain way. Like, because it's money, because it is math, it can be math, there's one right answer. And there aren't right answers. There might be a mathematically correct answer, not always. But there's also an emotionally correct answer. And if that's the thing that a client is actually going to stick with, that's the thing that we should be doing. So a lot of my work is, asking them questions, just getting them to paint their own picture, but then also constantly checking in with, does that make sense to you? How does that feel to you? Is that a thing that feels natural, or is it going to be like forcing yourself up against a wall? And if it's going to be that difficult, it's probably not going to last. It's not a habit that we're going to be able to form and keep healthy. So let's try something different. It's a lot of trial and error.
Okay. So you've been meeting with someone and you've walked them and built the basic foundation, and you start to move into investments. How much do you do? Will you actually advise them on what to consider and what to buy, or do you talk more conceptually and train them kind of an education on how that should work?
I focus a lot more on the educational aspect of, here is what it is that we're investing. Here is why. This is the difference between a large cap growth fund versus a small cap value fund. And why should we have that diversity? So it's a lot more the education. Yes, absolutely. I will make recommendations to, here's where I think you should be. But I definitely lean into the educational aspects so that it's not me being a dictator. I'm a financial advisor. I'm going to give you the advice, and you can take what works for you, but I also want to give you that foundation of, why am I giving you this advice? Why does it make sense? It's just far more likely to stick that way.
Okay. So when somebody is coming in for their regular one-on-one, so whether it's quarterly, monthly, whatever, what should they expect from this meeting? They've been meeting with you for a year or two. What do you talk about after it's been going, the relationship's been in place for a while?
And there's always new stuff coming up. So I mean, we just had a huge new tax bill in that changes a lot of different financial planning things. So having a lot of conversations around those. In the fall, I talk with my clients about their employee benefit options. So that's your health insurance. What makes sense for you? What has the company changed? Just checking in on what is going on with life, because it's nonstop. There's always something.
And are these meetings with your female clients, are they significantly different than what you used to have with
Oh gosh, yes.
all the wealthy retirees?
Yeah. With the retirees, it was far more investment focused. Now it's not so much. It is far more the day-to-day lifestyle kind of questions. Is this the right account for me? How can I best save to put my kids through college? We want to remodel our bathroom. What's the best way to finance this? Or do we have to wait? Should it be a cash deal? It's open, and it could be anything. And that's just really fun for me because it keeps me on my toes, and no meeting is ever the same.
So as you look at that, and look back on the move and the focus on helping, especially millennial women, are you really happy with what I've done and proud where the business is?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, always looking towards the future and growing and what can I do better? How can I serve more people more effectively? But yeah, I'm pretty proud of what I'm doing and what I'm building here. And I definitely feel like I'm more in my own skin. Serving people like this.
And you've confirmed to yourself, I've seen studies that confirm it too, but confirm to yourself and others that there is a significant difference in the way women and men react and handle financial advice.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, there is.
Good. We're going to take our final break. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. I'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. I'd like to thank the sponsors and donors who bring Biz Talk with Score to you each weekend. We couldn't present Biz Talk without their generous support. Thank you to Hailing Associates. Hailing Associates helps small businesses and individuals not just prepare tax returns, but plan ahead. A collaborative approach that helps you minimize taxes for this year and beyond. Hailing Associates, personal connection, positive results. Thank you to Johnson Financial Group. Wherever you are in your life or the life of your business, Johnson Financial Group works to understand your goals and matches the banking and wealth services needed to help you complete your mission. Thank you to the Business News for promoting our program in the business newspaper serving Northeast Wisconsin. The paper is delivered bi-weekly and contains relevant and useful information about the business community in the region. We would also like to recognize the David L. and Rita E. Nelson Fund within the Community Foundation for the Fox Valley region for their generous donation in support of Biz Talk and Score Northeast Wisconsin. Okay, as we turn back to Sarah now. Sarah, could you let our listeners know how they can find out more about you and contact you?
Well, I do have a website, 2025, got to be on the internet. So ValkyrieFinance.com. You'll go and see my smiling face, and you can read a little bit more about my philosophy, how I work, what my services are, and some pricing information. I am also on social media, on Instagram and Facebook at Valkyrie Financial. And I try to put out something every day, some kind of tidbit of financial information, financial facts, things that you can think about and work your money a little bit differently.
Okay. So as we wrap up the show, what does the future hold for Valkyrie Financial?
I would love to make this into a movement. The young female financial advisors. It is definitely a gap in the industry, and I would love to add on other financial advisors, mentor new voices in the space. I'm working on building a course so that if talking to a person on your finances is just a step too far, you don't want to open yourself up to that, you can do it in your own time. It's not available yet, but hopefully soon we'll get that out there.
Okay. And just want to clarify one thing too. Our Rick Sense co-host mentioned it. Just want to make sure everybody knows you do have male clients too.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yep. We don't hate on the men around here. We just support the women a little bit more.
Okay. So, first of all, I want to thank Sarah very much for being on the show. It was great to have you here. And it's an area where it wouldn't have even been a topic of conversation 20 years ago. So
Nope.
it's really good to have somebody talk about this important issue. For listeners out there, you'll be able to hear this show again on podcast. We will publish it next Wednesday, and it'll be available on all your podcatchers as well as you can find it on the SCORE Northeast Wisconsin website. As well as this episode on the podcatchers, you'll find episodes back to the beginning of January 2024. On our website, we go back to about 2016 with different shows. And again, we're not exactly positive when the show started, but we know we've been on since at least 2001, well before our time. But we really do appreciate the listeners and all you've done for us. So thanks again for listening, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.